In this example, we are going to graph an equation by plotting points. We are given the equation y equals 2x minus 1, and we start by creating in this table a column of x. You'll notice that we've already filled in this table with different values of x that we're going to plug into the equation. So in column 1, we've selected a number of x coordinates that we want to plug into the equation. Starting with the first row, if we plug -3 into the equation, you can see that we're going to end up with -7 as the output, or the y-coordinate that corresponds with -3. So one of the points that we have on our graph is -3, -7. Continuing on to the next row, if we plug -2 into that equation, we'll end up with -5 as our output. That tells us that -2, -5 is another point on the line. Continuing in this pattern, we get a list of a number of points that are on our equation. And down below here, you can see that those points have been plotted. And then if we connect them, we get a nice picture of a line. Now, while this is a useful method to figure out what a graph looks like, it's not very efficient. It can be really time consuming, and as we start to look at functions that are more complicated, this method might not be very useful. For example, if I had 3 points that looked like this, I might not have an understanding of what my graph looks like. It could be that it looks like this. Or it could be that it looks like this. There are a lot of different options that of things that I could draw to connect these points together. So as we go through future examples, we're going to find better ways to get pictures of functions that don't involve plotting points, but it's always useful to know how to get individual points to make our graphs more precise. Let's use a table and plotting points to see if we can get a picture of the graph for x squared minus 4. Let's start by plugging in some values for our x coordinates. Maybe let's start with -2. If I plug -2 in for x, I'm going to get -2 squared would give me 4 minus 4, which is 0. So it looks like -2 comma 0 is one of the points on our graph. Let's plug in -3. Let's see. I'm going to have -3 squared minus 4, which is 9 minus 4, or 5. -3, 5 is another point on my graph. What if I plug in 0? It looks like I'm getting -4. Let's plug in 1. Y equals 1 squared minus 4, which is -3. Let's plug in 2. Oops. Y is 2 squared minus 4, which is also 0. And then let's plug in 3. So here are a number of points that should be on our graph. Let's put together a quick picture and just see if the points that we plotted make sense. Just putting together a rough sketch. All right, one of the points was -2, 0. Let's see, -2, 0 would be here. We have -3, 5, so that's going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's going to be up here. We have 0, -4, 1, -3, which is here, 2, 0, and 3, 5. This isn't the best graph, but I sort of already know what this graph looks like. It's a parabola that's facing up that goes down to -4 on the y-axis. And as mentioned in the last example, you can see that plotting points in this way doesn't always give us the best idea of what the graph looks like. And so as we move forward into further sections, we'll come up with some easier strategies to get a picture without having to go through all the trouble of plotting points.